Welcome to Folk Tales, Folktale Monday. No, this is not. Maybe I'll post this tomorrow and Folktale Tuesday. I don't know, but we'll see. This is In a Certain Kingdom, not the one by Kotar, which has much better tellings. Where did I have it? Here. Hold on a second. Oh, there it is. Okay. This much better version. He's in Kotar. Nicholas Kotar is releasing more versions. This is the older version of A Certain Kingdom of 12 Russian folk tales, translated by Thomas P. Whitney, as opposed to Deacon Nicholas Kotar. But we'll see. This one has some that Kotar hasn't gotten to yet. I know the tellings probably aren't as good. It's a picture on the back. This story, picture that goes with it. This story is called Go, I Don't Know Where, and Bring Back I Don't Know What. Here, I'll show you the picture again. Okay. In a certain kingdom there lived a king who was unmarried. He had a whole regiment of riflemen who went out hunting for wild fowl to keep his table well supplied with game. One of them, a handsome young soldier called Fedot, was so fine a marksman the king preferred him over all his comrades. One day Fedot went hunting very early, even before dawn. He went into a dark, dense forest where he saw a turtle dove sitting on a tree. He cocked his gun, aimed, and fired, and wounded the bird in the wing. It fell from the tree to the damp earth. The soldier picked it up and was just about to wring its neck and put on his hunting pouch when the little turtle dove spoke. "Oh, handsome young soldier, do not kill me. Do not send me into the outer world. Take me home alive and set me on your window sill if you keep watch over me. And at the very moment that I begin to doze off, strike me a backhand blow with your right hand. You will win a great happiness." The soldier was astounded. "What's this?" he thought to himself. "A bird that speaks with a human voice? I've never heard such a thing." He took the bird home, placed it on his window sill, stood there waiting. After a little while, the turtle dove put its little head beneath its soft wing and dozed off. The soldier raised his right hand and struck the dove lightly with a backhand blow. The dove fell to the ground and became a lovely maiden, whose beauty was as such as is only found in fairy tales. There was no other maid in the whole world as beautiful. She said to the soldier, "You proved your skill when you captured me, and your kindness when you did not kill me. You are my desired husband, and I am your God-given wife." And so they were married, and Fedot was very happy with his young wife, but he did not neglect his duties to the king. Each morning at dawn he went into the forest and shot a variety of wild fowl for the royal kitchens. But his wife noticed that he had grown tired and thin from so much hunting, and she said to him, "Listen, my dear, I feel sorry for you. Every day you are out before dawn, wandering about the forests and the swamps. You always come home wet to the skin, and yet we have little gain from all this. What kind of trade is it really? I possess a skill which is bound to bring us profit. Get together 100 rubles or so, and we will soon put things to rights." Fedot went to his comrades, and by borrowing a ruble here and another there, succeeded in getting together 200 rubles, which he took to his wife. "Good, good," said his wife. "Now go out and buy all the silk yarn you can for this money." When he brought back the silk, she said, "Do not worry. Say your prayers and lie down to sleep. Things always look better in the morning." The soldier went to sleep, and his wife went out on the veranda and opened his magic book. At once two young wizards appeared before her and said, "Command us, and we will obey." Take this silk yarn, and within the hour make a carpet so wondrous that it is none to match it. Weave it in a pattern that shows all the kingdoms of the world together, with their cities, villages, rivers, and lakes. The two wizards set out to work. It did not take an hour, but a mere 10 minutes before they had made a carpet that was a marvel to all who saw it. As soon as they gave it to the soldier's wife, they disappeared. In the morning she gave the carpet to her husband. "There you are," she said. "Take it to the foreign merchants' market and sell it there. But remember one thing: take whatever is offered. Do not set a price of your own." Fedot took the rug, rolled it up, hung it over his shoulder, and went to the market. A merchant saw him and came running up. "Is this carpet for sale, sir?" he asked. "It is." "What is the price?" "You are a merchant. You set a price." The merchant thought and thought, but could not put a price on the rug. Another merchant came up, and a third, and then a fourth, until a huge crowd had assembled. All admired the rug, but none was able to settle on a price. Just then the palace governor arrived in the market. He saw the crowd and decided out what the merchant was squabbling about. He got out of his carriage and approached them. "Good day, merchants and tradesmen, guests from across the sea," he said. "What are you arguing about?" Well, you see, we're finding it impossible to set a price on this rug." The governor examined the rug and was overcome with admiration for it. "Listen, soldier. Tell me the honest truth. Where did you get such a glorious rug?" "My wife made it." "How much do you want for it?" "I do not know anything about prices. My wife instructed me not to bargain, but to take whatever was offered." "Well, in that case, here are 10,000 rubles." Fedot took the money and gave the governor the rug. The governor, who was close to the king, always ate and drank with him, and so when he went to dine, he took the rug with him. "Would your majesty like to see what a glorious thing I bought today?" The king inspected the rug, in which he could see his entire kingdom, so to speak, woven into a space the size of the palm of his hand. "Now that is a rug!" he exclaimed in wonder. "In my whole life I have never seen one as marvelous. Well, governor, you may ask what you will for it, but I will not return this rug to you." Then and there the king took out 20,000 rubles and gave them to the governor, and he ordered that the rug be hung in the palace at once. "That's all right," thought the governor. "I will buy an even better one for myself." So the governor hurried to the peasant hut in which the soldier lived. But when he entered it and saw the soldier's wife, he forgot the business on which he had come. Before him stood such a beauty that he could have feasted his eyes on her for a lifetime. He looked and looked and could not look away. As he looked, he thought to himself, "Who ever heard of an ordinary soldier possessing such a treasure? Even though I serve the king personally and have the rank of general, I have never seen beauty to compare with hers." The governor was at last forced to make his unwilling way home, but from that time on, whether waking or sleeping, he could think of nothing but the soldier's beautiful wife, and when he ate or drank, he hardly noticed what he was doing. The king soon saw that something was wrong and questioned him. "What has happened to you? Have you suffered some misfortune?" "Oh, your majesty, I've seen a soldier's wife, and there is no beauty to compare with her in the entire world. I keep thinking and thinking about her, and nothing can break the spell that she has cast over me." The king wished to see her for himself. He ordered his carriage and went to the section of the city in which the soldiers were billeted. He entered the soldier's hut. This is. He entered the soldier's hut, and indeed he found that Fedot's wife was beautiful beyond relief. belief. Anyone who looked at her, old or young, was bound in full hopelessly in love, and the king too felt a sharp pain in his heart. He thought to himself, "After all, here I am, still unmarried. I would like to marry this beauty. Why would she be the wife of a mere soldier? It is her destiny to be a queen." The king returned to his palace and said to the governor, "You showed me the soldier's wife. Now it's up to you to get rid of her husband. I want to marry her myself. And if you don't get rid of him, you will hang him from a gallows tree, though you are my loyal servant." The governor left the palace and was sadder than ever, for he could not think of a good way to get rid of the soldier. He searched through the nooks and crannies and wild vacant places until he found Baba Yaga.
Stop, servant of the king. I can read your thoughts. Would you like me to help you in your great misfortune?
"Help me, Granny. I will pay you whatever you ask."
The king has ordered you to get rid of Fedot the soldier. That is not an easy task. Fedot is simple enough, but his wife is very clever. Well, we shall have to work up a riddle that he won't quickly solve. Return to the king and say, "Beyond thrice 9 lands, in the thrice 10th kingdom, is an island. On this island is a deer with golden horns. Let the king master 100 sailors, the most slipshod, useless drunkards to be found, and let him have ready for sailing the oldest, rottenest ship in his fleet, one that has been retired from service for at least 30 years. Then let him send Fedot the soldier to sail on this ship in search of the deer with the golden horns. It will take Fedot no more and no less than 3 years to get that island, and it will take him 3 years to sail back, which makes 6 years. But the ship will go to sea, sail for a month, and then sink, and Fedot and the sailors will all drown." The governor listened carefully, thanked Baba Yaga for her service, rewarded her with gold, and returned to the king. "Your Majesty," he said, and he told the king about Baba Yaga, and said, concluding, "In this way you will surely be rid of the soldier." The king agreed, immediately ordered that an old and rotten ship be loaded with provisions for 6 years, and assigned to it a crew of 50 of the most disorderly, habitually drunken sailors in the fleet. The king's courtiers searched the inns and wine shops, collected an assemblage of motley sailors, such as rarely been seen. Some had blackened eyes, and others had broken noses. As soon as the king was told that the ship was ready, he summoned Fedot. "Fedot, you are a fine young soldier, the best rifleman in the regiment. I am going to ask you to perform a service for me. Go beyond the thrice 9th land of the thrice 10th kingdom, and find the island in which there lives a deer with golden horns. Capture him alive and bring him back to me." The soldier considered the king's request and did not know what to answer. "There is nothing to think about," said the king. "If you do not do as I order, I will have you beheaded." That evening, when Fedot returned home, he was sad and would not utter a word. His wife asked, "Why are you so downcast? Has something happened?" Fedot then told her the whole story, and she replied, "So that's it. Well, that is nothing, just a trifle. Say your prayers and lie down to sleep. Things always look better in the morning. Everything will be taken care of." The soldier lay down and went to sleep when his wife opened her magic book. Immediately 2 young wizards appeared before her and said, "Command us, and we will obey."
"Go beyond the thrice 9th land into the thrice 10th kingdom. There you will find an island in which there lives a deer with golden horns. Capture him alive and bring him here."
"We obey. By daylight all will be done."
A whirlwind bore them to the island, where they caught the deer with the golden horns and brought him straight to the soldier's yard. Their task once accomplished, the wizards disappeared. It was still 1 hour before dawn. The soldier's wife awakened her husband earlier than usual and said to him, "Have a look. The deer with the golden horns is pasturing in your own yard. Take him aboard the ship, sail out to sea for 5 days, and on the 6th day return homeward." The soldier placed the deer in a bounded up cage and had it loaded on the ship.
What is that?
asked the sailors. Various stores and medicines, he replied. It is going to be a long journey, and many things will be needed. The time came for the ship to sail. Many people came to see the voyagers off. The king himself arrived to bid farewell to Fedot and to name him commander of the ship. The ship sailed for 5 days and left the sea-coast far behind. Fedot gave orders that a huge barrel of wine be rolled out on the deck, and said to his sailors, "Brothers, drink up! Don't wait, don't hesitate. Drink as much as your hearts desire." The sailors were very happy to obey such orders, and rushed to the barrel. They drank wine in such measure that they fell on their faces, and slept right where they were. Fedot took the wheel and turned the ship toward home. To prevent the sailors from noticing, he let them drink wine from morn till night. No sooner did they open their bloodshot eyes than they found a new barrel ready and waiting. On the 11th day the ship docked at the wharf, ran up its flag, and fired a salute. The king heard the salute and rushed to the wharf to see what was happening. At the sight of Fedot, he grew furious and shouted angrily, "How dare you return ahead of schedule? What else could I do, your majesty? No doubt some idiot might sail about on the high seas for years and accomplish nothing, but I have managed to carry out our mission in 11 days. Would you not like to see the deer with the golden horns?" The cage was immediately unloaded, and the deer with the golden horns released. The king saw that the soldier had succeeded, and that there was nothing more to be done in at the moment. He permitted the soldier to go home, and since the soldier had manned the ship, had in the effect completed the work they had been assigned to do, and could not be retained in active service, he granted them leave for the remainder of the 6 days. The very next day the king summoned the governor and denounced him angrily. "What are you trying to do? Play tricks? It would seem your head is not precious to you. Do what you must, but find a way to send Fedot the soldier to an evil death."
Your Royal Highness just give me a chance to think about it, and I will try to find another way.
The governor once again searched through nooks and crannies and wild vacant places until he saw that Baba Yaga coming toward him.
"Stop, servant of the king. I know your thoughts. You want me to help you in your misfortune.
"Help me, Granny. The soldier has returned and brought with him the deer with the golden horns."
"Alas, I have already heard. He is himself a simple fellow, and to dispose of him would be as easy as taking a pinch of snuff. But his wife is very clever. We will set him another riddle, one that he won't be able to solve so quickly. Go to the king and tell him to order the soldier to go I don't know where, and bring back I don't know what. Now this is a task which in all eternity he will never be able to carry out. Either he will be lost without a trace during the search, or he will come back empty-handed."
The governor rewarded Baba Yaga with gold and went to the king. The king heard him out and summoned Fedot.
"Well, Fedot, you are a stout young soldier, the very best rifleman in the regiment. You have performed one service for me. You have brought me the deer with the golden horns. Now I ask you to perform another. Go, I don't know where, and bring back I don't know what. But you must understand that should you fail, you will lose your head."
The soldier left the palace and returned home, sad and thoughtful. His wife asked, "Why, darling, are you so unhappy? Have you suffered some misfortune?" "Alas," he said, "I have just managed to get over one catastrophe, and already faced with another. The king has ordered me to go I don't know where and bring back I don't know what. It is because of your beauty that I must suffer this disaster." "Well," replied his wife, "this particular service is no small fear. It will take 9 years on foot to get there, and another 9 to return. This is 18 years, and whether we get results even then, God only knows. What am I to do? Say your prayers and lie down to sleep. Things always look better in the morning. Tomorrow I will tell you everything." The soldier lay down to sleep. His wife waited for night and opened her magic book. Immediately the two wizards appeared.
Command us, and we will obey. Can you solve the riddle of
Can you solve the riddle of go I don't know where and bring back I don't know what?
No, we cannot.
She shut her book, and the wizards disappeared. In the morning the soldier's wife awakened her husband. Go to the king and tell him you must have a lot of gold for your journey. After all, you'll be gone for 18 years. When you receive the money, come back to bid me farewell. The soldier went to see the king, who gave him a great pouch full of gold from the royal treasury. Then he went to say farewell to his wife. She gave him a kerchief and a little ball. When you leave the city, throw this ball before you and follow wherever it rolls. Here is a sample of my handiwork, so to take with you. No matter where you are, wherever you wash, always without fail use this cloth to dry yourself. The soldier said farewell to his wife and comrades, bowed north, south, east, and west, and left the city. He tossed the little ball ahead of him. It leapt, rolling and rolling, and he followed after it. A month passed, and the king summoned the governor and said,
The soldier has left on a journey that will take 18 years. He will wander through the wide world, and you will see more than likely that he will not return from this journey alive. After all, 18 years is not 2 weeks. Who knows what will happen along the way? He has a great deal of money with him, and no doubt they will be thieves. They will rob and kill him, and so it seems to me that I need wait no longer for his wife. Take my carriage, go to the soldier's hut, and bring her to the palace.
The governor drove to the soldiers' section of the city. He entered Fedot's hut and said to the soldier's wife, Greetings, wise and clever lady. The king has ordered you to present yourself at the palace. The wife went to the palace, where the king met her joyfully and led her into a gilded chamber. The king said to her,
Would you like to be my queen? For I wish to marry you.
How can you take a wife from a living husband? No matter who he is, even if he is an ordinary soldier, he is still my lawful husband.
If you don't marry me of your own free will, I will compel you to do so.
At these words the beautiful wife laughed, struck the floor, turned into a turtle again, and flew out of the window. The soldier journeyed through many kingdoms, and the little ball always led the way. Whenever they came to a river, the bull made a bridge across it. Whenever the soldier wished to rest, the little ball made up a feather bed for him. Whether it took a long time or a short time, we do not know. But though the tale is quickly told, a deed takes time to do. Finally, however, the soldier came to a large and magnificent palace. The little ball rode up to the gates and disappeared. The soldier hesitated a moment and then decided to go in. Once again he mounted a staircase that led to a chamber where he was greeted by 3 maidens of indescribable beauty.
Where have you come from?
Why are you here? They asked.
Oh, beautiful maidens,
You don't even give me a chance to rest from my long journey, but instead question me right off. Give me something to eat and drink, and let me rest, and then I will answer you. They set a table for him at once, gave him food and drink, and when he had eaten, showed him to a bed. The soldier slept his fill. As soon as he awoke, the beautiful maidens brought him a wash basin and an embroidered towel. He washed in the fresh spring water, but would not accept the towel they gave him. I have my own cloth with which to wash my face, he said. The beautiful maidens asked, Good sir, where did you get that cloth? My wife gave it to me. Then you are married to our own dear sister. They called their old mother, who came to look at the cloth. She too recognized it instantly. It is the handiwork of my daughter, she exclaimed. She began to question her guest and related the whole story. Now he had come to marry her daughter, and how it was that the king had sent him to go I don't know where, and bring back I don't know what. Alas, my dear son-in-law, even I have never heard of anything so strange. But wait a moment. Perhaps my servants have heard of it. The old woman went out on her balcony and called in a loud voice, Suddenly, out of nowhere, all varieties of wild beasts came hurrying to her, and all manner of birds flew down from the sky. Welcome, beasts of the air, forests, and birds of the air. Beasts go everywhere, and birds you fly everywhere. Have you ever heard of go I don't know where, and bring I don't know back I don't know what? All the birds and beasts answered in chorus, No, we have not heard of that. The old woman let them return to their own haunts, to the thickets, the forests, and copses, and went back into the house. She got on out her magic book and opened it. Instantly 2 giants appeared before her.
Command us, and we will obey.
My true servants, carry me and my son-in-law out into the broad ocean sea, and stand right in the middle of it, in its deepest depths. The giants immediately lifted the soldier and the old woman, and carried them on a whirlwind out into the midst of the broad ocean sea, and placed themselves in its deepest depths. Once there, they stood like pillars, holding the soldier and the old woman in their hands. The old woman called out in a loud voice, and all of the fish and reptiles of the sea swam up to the surface. The sea was alive with them. There were so many the water could hardly be seen. Welcome, fish and reptiles. You swim everywhere and visit all the islands of the sea. Have you heard of go I don't know where and bring back I don't know what? And all the fish and reptiles of the sea replied in one water, No, we have not heard of that. But just then a lame old frog, who had been living quietly in retirement for 35 years, pushed his way forward. Get up, get up, get up, get up. I know where this wonder is to be found. Well, my dear frog, you are the one I've been looking for, said the old woman. She picked him up and ordered the giants to take her, the frog, and her son-in-law home. In one instant they returned to the palace, and the old woman asked the frog, What road must my son-in-law take? Get out, get out. The place is at the very edge of the world, far, far away. I would guide him there myself, but I am very old, and I can hardly drag my legs behind me. It would take me 50 years to hop there. The old woman brought out a big jar and poured some fresh milk into it. She placed the frog in the jar and gave it to her son-in-law. Just carry this jar in your hand, she said, and let the frog show you the way. The soldier took the jar and said farewell to the old woman and her daughters, and, directed by the frog, continued on his journey. Was it far? Was it near? Did it take long, or was it soon? Who knows? They arrived at a fiery river. Beyond the river stood a high mountain in which a door could be seen. Get off, get off! Let me out of the jar. We must cross the river. Well, my handsome soldier, sit on my back and don't feel sorry for me, girl, because you're, what is it? Well, you're not going to crush me. The soldier seated himself on the frog, who pressed hard to the ground, but the frog began to puff himself up, and he grew bigger and bigger until he was as large as a haystack. The soldier had only one thought in his mind, how not to fall off, knowing that if he did, he would be killed. Nevertheless, the frog continued puffing and growing until he made a gigantic leap, which took him across the fiery river. As soon as they landed, he shrunk to his normal size again. Get on, thou handsome soldier, and by that door. I would wait for you here. You will find the cave where you must hide yourself well. After a time, 2 old men will come. Listen to what they say, and see what they do, and when they have gone, say and do the same yourself. The soldier went up to the mountain and opened the door. The cave was so dark it was as if he were blind. He crawled on all fours and began to feel things with his hands. He came to what seemed to be an empty closet, sat himself in it, and covered himself up. In a little while 2 old men came into the cave and said, Hey there, hey there, Schmott. Hey there, Schmott the wise. Feed us. Then that very instant, from out of nowhere, chandeliers were lighted Some serving dishes rattled, and all kinds of fine foods and wines appeared on the table. The old men ate and drank their fill, and then ordered, "Hey there, Schmott the Wise, take it away!" Suddenly everything disappeared. There was nothing there. No table, no drinks, no food, and the chandeliers went out. The soldiers heard the two old men leave. He climbed off out of the closet and said, "Hey there, Schmott the Wise! Hey there, Schmott the Wise! What would you like? Feed me." Once again the chandeliers were lighted, and the table was set, and all kinds of food and drink. The soldier seated himself at the table and said, "Hey there, Schmott the Wise, sit down beside me. Let's eat and drink together, brother, because alone it's lonely." An invisible voice replied, "Oh, good man." A visible voice replied, "Oh, good man, from where has God sent you? It will soon be 30 years that I have been serving the two old men truly and faithfully, and during the entire time they have not once invited me to sit down with them." The soldier watched with astonishment. He could see no one, but the food was disappearing from the plate as if it were being swept up by a whisk broom, and the bottle rose by itself and poured wine into a glass. And as the soldier watched, the glass was emptied. He ate and drank, and then he said, "Listen to me, Schmott the Wise. Would you like to serve me? Life with me will be good." "Why not? I have long been bored with things here, and you, I see, are a good man." "Well, then, get your things together, and let's be off." The soldier emerged from the cave and looked about him, but could see no one. "Schmott the Wise, are you here?" "Here, don't worry. I will not lag behind." "Very well," said the soldier. He mounted the frog, and the frog puffed himself up, gave a mighty leap across the fiery river, and once across became his normal size again. The soldier put the frog back in the jar, and they set off for home. They came to the palace of the soldier and mother-in-law, and he ordered his new servant to serve a feast for the old woman and her daughters. So well did Schmott the Wise entertain them that the old woman almost danced for joy. In reward for his good service, the frog was to receive 3 jars of milk each day. The soldier said farewell to his mother-in-law and continued homeward. He walked, and he was exhausted. His feet dragged, his arms drooped. "Alas," he said, "Schmott the Wise, if only you knew how weary I am. My legs are simply too tired to move." Why didn't you tell me before? I would have got you home in an instant." The soldier was at once lifted in a strong whirlwind and borne through the air so swiftly that his cap fell off his head. "Hey there, Schmott the Wise, wait a minute. My cup has fallen over." "Too late, sir. Your cap is 5,000 miles behind us." Cries and villages, rivers and forests flashed past. They were flying over a pale blue sea, and Schmott the Wise said to the soldier, "Would you like me to build you a golden pavilion right here on this sea? You can rest there and find good fortune too." "Very well." He had no sooner spoken than he felt himself landing. Where before there had been lonely waves, there now rose a teeny island, and on the island stood a golden pavilion. Schmott the Wise said to the soldier, "Seat yourself in the pavilion, rest, and look out to sea. 3 merchant ships will sail up and approach the island. Summon the merchants to you, entertain them, and feast them, and exchange me for the 3 marvels which the merchants carry with them. When the time comes, I will again return to you." The soldier looked out to sea, and there were 3 sailing vessels approaching from the west. The sailors had spotted the island and the golden pavilion. "What miraculous island is this?" they asked. "We have sailed these waters many times, but never before has there been anything but ocean here. And just look over there at the golden pavilion. Let's get close to the shore, brothers, and have a better look. The ships have to put down their anchors." The 3 merchants, who were the ship's owners, boarded a small boat and rowed to the island. "Hail, good man," they said to the soldier. "Hail, foreign merchants, I bid you welcome. Enjoy yourself. Rest a while. This pavilion was built just for guests such as you. The merchants entered the pavilion and seated themselves. "Hey there, Schmott the Wise!" cried the soldier. "Give us something to eat and drink." In an instant a table appeared before them, and on the table were the fine food and wine, as much as the heart could desire. The merchant could only oh and ah. "Come," said they, "let us exchange marvels. Give us your invisible servant. In exchange you may have any one of our marvels."
What marvels have you?
asked the soldier. "Wait, and you shall see," they promised. One of the merchants took from his pocket a small box, and as soon as he opened it, an entire park, complete with flowers and pathways, rolled out and covered the whole island. The moment he closed the little box, the park disappeared. The second merchant took an axe from beneath the folds of his robe and chopped once. Immediately a ship appeared, and he chopped again, and there was a second ship. 100 times he chopped, and there were 100 ships, complete with sails, cannon, all ready to sail. The sails were hoisted, the cannon broad, and the ship captain asked the merchants for orders. Having amused himself, the merchant hid his axe, and his ships disappeared without a trace. The third merchant took out a horn and blew it. Instantly an army appeared, in infantry and cavalry, with rifles, cannon, and hunters. The merchant received reports from all the regiments and issued orders in return. The troops marched. Martial music blazed, banners flew. This merchant, too, having amused himself, took the horn, blew into its wrong end, and all the troops disappeared. "Your marvels are fine," said the soldier, "but they do not suit my needs at all. Armies and navies are matters for a king, and I am only a simple soldier. If you wish to make an exchange with me, then you must give me all of your marvels for my invisible servant." "Aren't you asking too much?" "Well, do as you please. I will not make the exchange on any other condition." The merchants thought to themselves, "Oh, what use is it to us in the park? The park, or those regiments or ships? We will do better to make the exchange. At least we will be well fed and given drink without any fuss and bother." So they gave the soldier their marvels and said, "Hey, you, Schmott the Wise, we are going to take you with us. Will you serve us faithfully?" "Why not? It's all the same to me whom I serve." The merchants returned to their ships, ordered a great feast for all their soldiers. "All right, Schmott the Wise, hurry up." On board the ships all drank themselves into a stupor. Meanwhile the soldier sat in his golden pavilion, considering things, and he said aloud, "Too bad. I miss my loyal servant Schmott the Wise. I wonder where he is now." "I am here, sir." The soldier was delighted. "Isn't it time for us to go home?" "Isn't it time for us to go home?" He had no sooner spoken than he was caught up in a wild whirlwind, whoosh, and borne into the air. The merchants in their ship had awakened and wanted more to drink. "Hey there, Schmott the Wise, give us something to get rid of our hangovers." No one replied. No one came to wait on them, no matter how much they shouted. "Good Lord! The cheat! He robbed us! Only the devil could find him now. The island is gone, and so is the golden pavilion." The merchants mourned their loss for a time, then they hoisted their sails and sailed away. The soldier was borne swiftly home to his own kingdom. He landed on an empty strip of coast in the deep blue sea. "Hey there, Schmott the Wise, can you build me a palace here?" "Why not? It will be ready in an instant." Immediately such a wonderful palace rose from the ground that it was impossible to describe, and it was twice as big as the king's palace. The soldier opened the teeny box that the first merchant had given him, and a park appeared with rare trees and flowers. As the soldier sat in an open window of his palace, admiring his park, a turtle dove flew in, struck the floor, and became his beautiful young wife. They embraced and were soon relating their adventures to one another. Since you left the house, the wife said, I've spent my time flying through the groves and the forests. The next morning the king went out on his balcony and, looking toward the sea, saw on the shore a new palace surrounded by a lovely green park.
What, 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 what? What boar has decided to build on my land without asking my permission?
Couriers were sent to find out, and returned with a report that the palace had been built by the king's former rifleman, who was living there with his wife. The king grew even angrier than before, and ordered his army to be assembled. They were to burn down the park and the palace, and to put to death the soldier and his wife. When the soldier saw that the king's army was moving to attack his palace, he quickly took up his axe, went chop chop, and one ship after another appeared, until there were 100 in the sea. He then took out his horn and blew once, and infantry poured forth ready for battle. He blew again, and a cavalry regiment appeared. The commanding officers of the regiment and the captains of the ships came to him for orders. The soldiers signaled for the battle to begin. Martial music blared. The drum bearers and the regiments advanced. The infantry broke the ranks of the king's soldiers. The cavalry pursued them as they fled and took prisoners. The ship fired volley after volley into the capital. The king saw that his army was fleeing and rushed out to stop the deserting soldiers, but he could do nothing, and in half an hour he himself was killed. When the battle was over, the people gathered together and begged the soldier to rule over the kingdom. The soldier agreed and was made the new king, and his darling wife became his radiant queen. And that was the story of Go I Don't Know Where and Bring Back I Don't Know What. Probably not as good as Kotar would have translated it, but we'll see if he ever gets to that one or not. Anyway, that is good for Russian folk tales. I'll see you later. Bye for now.